Hey everyone, it's your girl Jen and welcome back. Today I'll be recreating art pieces into outfits. I have always been a huge lover and appreciator of the arts, so I thought it would be really fun to bring these historic images into real life. All of the artworks or art pieces that I'm recreating are Twitter submissions from you guys. So thank you to everyone that sent me these images. I feel like a lot of new artists were shown on my radar. So thank you so much. And before I get started, I must ask if you're subscribed, because if you're not, the button's down below, hit that, become a gem today, and let's get started with the video. So my first art piece is Woman in Gold by GUSTAV KLIMT. Like, this is just like one immaculate portrait. Like, if I could go back in time and get my portrait done by an artist, it would definitely be him, because his work is like nothing I've ever seen before. Like, I just appreciate how ornate and detailed all his portraits are, and I love like the use of like pieces of gold and like the collage-iness. I'm pretty sure the portrait would be freaking expensive, but definitely worth it to have a portrait done by him. This is how I recreated that look. I just wore this gold sequin gown. I found this on Amazon and I tried my best to find a dress that had like different metallic patterns, but I failed and I thought that this gold dress would do. I added this crystal choker to match the one that she has on. In reality, I would probably wear this to like a dinner or a premiere or something. It's definitely like a lot fancier than I'm used to. There's also a film based off the woman in this portrait. Apparently the Nazis like stole this in a raid, so there's like a whole film on that. I believe it's called like Woman in Gold. I haven't seen it, but I just, you know, random fact that I found online. The next piece I have is called Dancers in Pink by DEGAS. This was painted in the 1800s and is considered part of the Impressionist era, so that's why there's just like a lot of thin, light brushstrokes. That's just classic to that style. And Degas is actually known to have painted a lot of paintings of ballerinas and dancers while they're performing or they're resting. So it's just kind of like a little like peek inside a ballerina's life. And this painting in particular just like caught my eye. I think it's just like the splash of color and it just looks very candid. Now, this is how I recreated this look. I couldn't find a pink tutu or a bodysuit, so I thought that red would be my best option. Honestly, I think like red and pink are pretty interchangeable. I did a fake rose into my hair to match the one that the girl has on, and then wore this black choker from RMI to match the painting. I feel like this outfit can really only be worn like if you're a dancer or ballerina or maybe like a Halloween costume. It's definitely not something that I would wear every day. Maybe if I just threw on like blue jeans instead of the red tutu, it would just be more everyday. Our next art piece is by Jean-Claude Auguste Dominique Ingres, and it's of a woman named Mademoiselle Caroline Riviere. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with French, and obviously I'm like butchering the pronunciation, so forgive me in advance, I'm so sorry. This was painted in 1806, and it's the third of 3 portraits of the Riviere family. This is actually hanging at the Louvre in Paris, so I thought that was pretty damn cool. I really love the way her eyes were painted here. They're kind of lowered, and they have like that slight smirk, very similar to Mona Lisa's. Voila! Here is Mademoiselle Caroline in the flesh. I'm wearing a white Empire waist dress with lace sleeves. It's long and flowy, and I definitely felt like a Disney princess in this. For accessories, I wore these yellow gloves and this faux fur stole that I borrowed. For my hair, I did a center part and pulled it back to copy what she did. And let me tell you, when I was filming this, it was so freaking hot. I was dying, and I definitely got a lot of interesting stares for this. We filmed this at Terranea, and we thought it would be like the perfect backdrop because it had like the beach and the cliff. And it was so funny because I think people legitimately thought that this was my wedding dress because like Ben and I were like walking around taking photos of it. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's a good thing that my wedding dress doesn't actually look like that. Or I don't have a wedding dress, but it wouldn't look like that. Regardless, we got the shot, and that's all that matters. This next one is pretty hilarious. This is by the brothers Jenn and HUBERT van Eyck, and this particular panel is actually one segment of this entire altarpiece. This was painted in 1432, and it's considered one of the world's treasures. I know that these men just look like they're like constipated and confused, but they're actually singing. They're singing angels, and they're all in a choir, and I decided to dress up as one of the angels. I'm wearing a red silk robe, and I thought that this would just give the same vibe as the ones that they were wearing. And then I threw on this tapestry scarf that I got at this ministry website, and it was actually like pretty expensive. I paid $60 for this, but I had to get it or else it just wouldn't complete the look. I topped it off with a bejeweled crown from a party website, and I called it a day. This art piece is actually one of the most stolen art pieces of all time. The Nazis were like desperate to steal it, and actually one of the panels is still missing. So I thought that was super interesting. I really enjoyed like researching all these art pieces. It was kind of like being in art history class, but without being graded. So it's pretty awesome. Regardless, this is one of the world's most just like influential paintings ever, because I think it was like the world's first oil painting, like first oil painting masterpiece, and it also has like very heavy Catholic roots. This last art piece is one of my favorites. It's by FRIDA KAHLO, and she is just one of my favorite artists of all time. Her story has always been so fascinating to me because she's just endured so much in her life. Like for example, when she was a child, she contracted polio, and then growing up, a car hit her and she became disabled. And during her recovery is when she really began to paint. This was painted in 1940, and she just looks really tense because she's lived a life of physical and emotional pain. Unfortunately, the man that she married, Diego Rivera, wasn't a very good match for her. He was always cheating on her and didn't treat her right. Like he even cheated on her with her sister. So the story is just very wild, and she's just seen a lot of stuff. So honestly, I could talk about her all day, but here is how I recreated this look. I put my hair up and I added this flower crown in classic FRIDA style. I even had to put a little unibrow to honor her. I threw on this brown tie-dye shawl that mirrored her top, and then underneath I wore this nude skirt from American Apparel. For accessories, I wore this silver choker that kind of looks like the thorn one she's wearing, and then I wore this palm tree earring because I couldn't find a hand and I thought that it would do. FRIDA is one of my favorite artists of all time because she's very introspective with her work, and I don't know, I feel like I can relate to her a lot, and I just feel like a lot of her portraits like show how someone can feel so trapped in their mind and their body, and I just have so much respect for her. All right, everybody, those were all the outfits that I have for you. I am so sorry that it took me like forever to film this. It's because I had to source all the clothing, find all the backgrounds, and like just research about all these art pieces. So yeah, that's why it took a little bit longer than usual. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the segment, please hit the like button, write it in the comments down below. If you want me to do like a part 2, let me know. I would appreciate your feedback. If you would like to submit one of your favorite art pieces that you'd like me to recreate into an outfit, feel free to write it in the comments down below or tweet me at I'm Jenn Im, whatever you prefer. Honestly, I had so much fun filming this, and it's kind of inspired me to start painting again, because growing up, I loved to paint because I was never a good writer, so I always found like different mediums to express myself. So whether that was painting or videos, I'm just very visual. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Mwah.